Welcome to Tri-Cities Profile. I'm your host, Kimberly McLeod. Joining me right now is Judy Johnson, who is the president of the Friends of Leigh Square. Now tell me, what's it like to be a friend of Leigh Square?
Well, we're a friendly bunch, exactly. But it does not involve drinking wine in somebody's backyard on a summer day. Let's go back to the name Leigh Square, which is a park in the downtown of Port Coquitlam. And the square itself has a couple of buildings that are collectively called the Community Arts Village, the Leigh Square Community Arts Village. And in the creation of that square, and the buildings have been around for about 5 or 6 years now, in the creation of that, the preliminary discussions that they had with the community, they said, we need some support, we need input from the community, we want to have community involvement in what we do here, what the buildings look like, and so forth. And so as the project was actually created and the buildings were built, there was a realization that having a society that would support the square and support arts and culture in Port Coquitlam, that idea would be very, very helpful in integrating what the city can offer and what the community would like to do. So that's how the Friends came about. It's a society, and we were formed in 2005. And we are working hand in glove with the city to, make sure that arts and culture has an opportunity to express itself right here.
So this is a little different of an arts center, I guess you would say, because it's so community involved. It's so involved in its community, and the community is welcome to come in and give ideas and things like that. Is that correct?
That's correct. In fact, the model that they chose when this whole thing began was one that involved the community very, very clearly and intimately in giving direction as to what do we want to have here? Do we want to have these kind of exhibits or those kind of activities? What is it? And the community was invited to offer their input, and they did. And as the facilities now open, those kinds of input are still requested, and still invited. For example, I was talking to you earlier about the exhibition that we have on right now. A couple of artists who have created something that, by the standards of, kind of what we would think of as artwork in the Louvre or, in Canada in some art gallery, I find this art a little bit different because it's beautiful, but some of it's kind of odd, and it's odd in a way that intrigues me. And it's not a negative thing at all. It's just kind of intriguing. It's like, what is that in that picture? Oh, that's what that is. So I won't tell you. You can go and find out for yourself what's there. But I found some of the pictures, and these are the photographs that I'm talking about now, quite intriguing. And the thing is that's the direction the artists wanted to. That's what they offered, and we said, fine, let's look at what is it that the community wants to offer. And in setting up the different exhibitions, there's a wide variety of things that are sought and presented. And so they've created something that's a little bit different, and I really think it's great. That's what we want.
What's coming up for Leigh Square in the next couple of months? We're coming into winter now.
Yep.
So what kind of things will they be offering?
In 2011, I think we had 8 shows. By the end of this year, we will have 8 shows. So they run about, 6 weeks or so each. In 2012, there's 10 shows, and they run the gamut from here to there, to everything from the environment to ecology to women's issues to, children. Sometimes the schools have been involved in presenting exhibitions. I know a couple of years ago we did some work with the local high school students and gave them all cameras for a day, disposable cameras, and said, go out and take all these pictures. And what was shown was amazingly creative and amazingly thought-provoking from these young high school students. So I'm involved in the square, sort of from the big picture point of view. Where are we going? What are the things that we can do as a society to support what's happening? The exhibition committee is one of the things that has been very strong. And I'm not involved in the exhibition committee personally, so that's why I can't recite chapter and verse exactly what's coming up. But we work with the city to say, here are some things that we could improve in the way that the square is run or the physical look of it or whatever, and the city is willing to listen. And they may not have the budget, so we say, well, how could we fundraise to support that particular aspect? And so that's why we work together with them.
What do you think Leigh Square means to the community? What do you think it does to improve it?
Well, the square itself is amazing. We have a farmer's market, they have music in the summer, they have events in the winter, over Christmas. The buildings are utilized for workshops and meetings and gatherings and kids sessions, school sessions, and so on. So a broad range of uses. So it's becoming more and more of a focal point for the community of, let's go down to Leigh Square and hear this band, or see what's on at the band shell, or see what the exhibits are right now. So it's becoming a very active hub, drawing people in, and a lot of it is exciting and creative stuff that you wouldn't see otherwise. We've had some native exhibitions, bringing people in from the Northwest Territories, First Nations of all sorts have offered different parts of that show, and it brings things that we wouldn't see otherwise.
So it's community involvement. It's getting
Very
the community
much.
together,
Yeah.
and making Port Coquitlam probably a great place.
The thing I like about Port Coquitlam is that there's so much here that is. I'm just beginning. I've lived here for almost 15 years, and I'm just beginning to discover what's here.
Right.
And it's like scratching the surface, and underneath it's like an onion, many layers, many layers.
Now, if people want to get involved with Friends of Leigh Square, how would they go about doing that?
Well, there's a couple of ways. People could just be involved in contributing information or ideas, and providing that input through Parks and Recreation. The Arts and Cultural Coordinator is Yvonne Chu, and she's always receptive to hearing what's offered. And that's probably a good location for people who want to know more about the Friends of Leigh Square. Yvonne is there more or less, it's a full-time job for her, so she's there a lot more. I'm a volunteer, so it's a little harder to pin me down and find me in a particular place on a particular day. But that's a good place to start. Parks and Rec Department at Port Coquitlam. So, the phone number is in, it's available. And I'm sorry, the web name would be one of the Port Coquitlam website.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today and
It's been a
telling
pleasure,
us about
yeah.
Leigh Square. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad I did.
Yes,
Thanks.
me too. You've been watching Tri-Cities Profile.